The focus of last week's podcast was centralized around the ethical impacts of technological evolution on our society and environment. As we continue to explore different aspects of morality and ethics in technology, today we will be discussing the uprising of artificial intelligence and autonomous robots in our society and what that means for our future. Stuart Russell's series of lectures on BBC Radio discussed the various ways general-purpose AI will impact our society, naming it the biggest event in human history due to the enormous effect it will have on humanity and how we conduct our lives. In his introductory lecture, Russell explains the origins of artificial intelligence and the fundamentals of AI. The driving question of this lecture was who will be liable in the event of an AI disaster, and addresses the fear of AI becoming uncontrollable. Given that this series of lectures were given in 2021, while general-purpose AI was becoming a possibility at the time, it was nowhere near the huge boom in general-purpose AI we are seeing now, just 2 years later. This is astonishing and telling of how quickly this technology is advancing. As this technology continues to grow at an exponential rate, fears for what it means for our future is a highly discussed topic surrounding AI. For many, artificial intelligence is a difficult concept to grasp due to the vastness of it. Russell does a good job of easing the listener, explaining that, like humans, robots and AI are entities that achieve objectives based on actions, and in order to achieve an objective, their actions must be programmed by a human. This leaves humans in control, meaning artificial intelligence and robots do not have an IQ, they are unable to think for themselves, and thus cannot act without the direction of a human. Because of this, Russell explains that it's not so much an issue of whether AI will become uncontrollable, but humans knowing or not knowing how to use it properly. While it is relieving to know that as of right now we do not need to worry about robots and AI taking over the world, how people use AI is still a frightening unknown that is leaving people with a lot of questions about how it will be implemented in things like warfare and how it will impact our economy. There is currently a huge discussion about AI taking over jobs that are traditionally done by humans, especially in industries that are centralized around technology. As a graphic designer, this is a very real fear. As Adobe continues to release generative AI versions of the programs that took me years to master, I question if I still have a future in my industry. This is a fear that plagues so many people, as robots are created to do a plethora of jobs. Russell addresses this fear in his lecture on AI and the economy, however, explains that while robots may replace entry-level positions, in turn it would create more high-ranking jobs that require human intelligence in order to complete successfully. In my case, I frequently find myself wondering why I invested so much time and money into my education just for my industry to be potentially wiped out by AI. Any person can obtain the software and type their desired objective into a dialog box to produce vectors, design layouts, and photoshopped images without any training or education in graphic design or really any knowledge of the programs they are using. While frustrating and disheartening, Russell raised a few points that gave me a little more peace of mind. The first being that as a society, we invest trillions of dollars in education, with the entire goal being to train future generations on how to run humanity, and this effort would not continue if we were confident that robots and AI could run our society for us. The second point he made was that ultimately, as humans, we need interpersonal connections. While AI may be able to replace the physical actions to complete an objective, it cannot replace the human bonds we crave as social creatures. For example, at some point or another, we are all faced with the frustration of dealing with some form of automated customer support. Whether it's an AI chatbot on a store's website or an automated voice on the line of a company's customer service department, the feeling of just wanting to talk to another human being about the issue at hand is a universal experience. This point in particular resonated with me and my own fears about AI taking over the graphic design industry. Yes, while anyone could type a design objective into a dialog box and yield a result, that doesn't mean it's going to look good. A generative AI algorithm doesn't have the critical thinking skills to apply design fundamentals, without the direction of a human, to a client's vision while still communicating a complex message. In turn, the person using AI to generate designs would need to know the concise language to use in order to direct an AI algorithm to produce results that are not only visually pleasing, but also convey the message behind the design. This is where a human graphic designer is needed and cannot be replaced by AI. We are trained to communicate with clients about their wants or needs, apply fundamental processes, and simultaneously know how to apply foundational knowledge about design in order to achieve a product. For example, in publication design, a person who is untrained in graphic design would not know to hang their quotation marks in a body of text when designing pages in a book. And unless the AI is explicitly told to do so, it is incapable of knowing that is what the person using it wants. In Ray Kurzweil's essay in Society, Ethics, and Technology, the idea of robots replacing jobs is explored similarly to Russell's lecture, stating, automation has been eliminating jobs at the bottom of the skill ladder while creating new and better paying jobs at the top. While this may provide some relief that humans will not be completely replaced by robots, the question that is raised is what happens when these technologies malfunction? Who will be liable? A relatively harmless example of this occurring was provided in Noel Sharkey's essay when he discussed the instance when two algorithms that priced books online crashed into each other and caused the books to be astronomically priced. The task of pricing books online was traditionally a job that a human did, but was taken over by an algorithm. And while the consequences didn't cause mass destruction, the same could not be said if this were to occur if two algorithms used to target enemies at war interfered with one another. This concept is discussed in Fiorella Operto's essay concerning roboethics and the issues of liability when autonomous robots malfunction. Two opposing arguments are raised when addressing this issue, but both stem from the fact that robots are devoid of empathy and emotion. One might argue that because of this, robots are actually more ethical than humans because emotion does not play a role in their actions. However, this can also be problematic because they do not contain the capacity to know right from wrong. This issue can be applied to both Kurzweil's and Sharkey's essays in regards to the proliferation of autonomous robots used in nanotechnology and warfare. In Chapter 6 of Death by Technology, Cook states that it's almost impossible to tell where technology will go as he discusses the Pandora's box of inventions and the inevitable cause and effect technological evolution has. As we conclude this discussion, I feel the key takeaway from all of the sources in this week's module is that as autonomous robots and artificial intelligence grow at an exponential rate, in order to avoid catastrophic events caused by the use of these technologies, it is our jobs as humans to learn how to use them responsibly. Autonomous robots and AI are only as capable to do things as we allow them to be, and when used correctly, they can be utilized as tools to enhance our lives. They can also be used incorrectly, leading to horrible consequences. Ultimately, the ethical issue of these technologies does not come down to the robots or artificial intelligences themselves, but the humans that are using them.